Do not go in there.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I am Adam, nee Brenda Vaccaro.
I'm Norm. I sound all right.
You sound just fine. Will, you sound like you're ready to narrate movie trailers and
In a world with no sunshine,
no world.
no world, and no hero,
That's really good.
Ben Stiller is the only man alive. I don't know. I got nothing. Yeah, I got no voice.
No, yeah. My throat is actually in physical distress. Like it actually feels like something's clamped on it. We should say why.
It's Saturday at Comic-Con.
It's Saturday at Comic-Con, and we were up until all hours of the morning.
Yeah.
You guys were up much later than I was, talking over loud music at the tested Comic-Con incognito party.
Which, okay,
You're wearing the T-shirt too.
I'm wearing the T-shirt.
Dude, it's a fucking great T-shirt.
It turned out so Steve Kim, who did the Pixel Guys for our for the initial relaunch of Tested, I said, hey, because when he did those, he pitched, hey, we should do Adam in costume too, and I said, oh, that's a great idea, and then he did like 15 of them because he's the man.
We had stickers,
and we never used them because we were like, it's a little infringy. But then we were like, it's a Comic-Con party. We're never going to sell the shirts. Sorry, guys. So we made a T-shirt.
So awesome. I forgot to grab one, so I have to make sure I get one.
We will, if we don't have enough, we might do a small run.
private run.
But the party last night
It was an amazing party. I mean,
exceeded every expectation I had, and actually demonstrated some brand new ones.
so we took over a bar in the corner of the gas lamp.
A terrific bar called
A
Sidebar.
wonderful bar. Great. The people there were unbelievable, super helpful.
That is, I want to just single that out because the staff at Sidebar could not have been more professional, more on it. There was at no point did I feel in any way like it was difficult to talk to the house. Fire marshal came through. They took care of stuff in an instant.
Professionals.
They were just I love those guys.
If you don't know how to throw a party or host a party in San Diego, of all places, it's Miami's the only other place I would imagine where the people are more pro.
Well, I did hear that the owner of Sidebar comes via Vegas and has some genuine bar owning chops and is well known for the how well run his establishment is. And I have to say, I found that entirely. I love that.
So go ahead, Norm.
The vast majority of people listening to this weren't there, unfortunately.
Sorry, guys.
And we'll have photos and video and stuff of the event. So let's describe the event. What was it?
The thing we started out when we wanted to have a Comic-Con party is like, Norm and I have a long history of not getting into Comic-Con parties. That changed when we met you to a certain small extent, but still. So we wanted to have a something for people that have supported Tested. We had people there. Always Be Clothing on the forum was there. It's the first time I think I met him in person, but he was probably the first guy on the forums whose username I recognized because when we launched Tested in 2010, he was all in immediately. It was like, this is awesome. I love what you guys are doing. We're in. So it was wonderful to get to meet some of those guys. Sorry, Norm. But we wanted to have a party that everybody could come to, and we wanted to showcase like what you've done at Comic-Con, Dragon Con, and other places you've done cosplay.
Well, also I will point out that the first time I came to Comic-Con, I got turned away from the big Saturday night party.
Yeah.
And I discovered that, I think I've talked about this before.
We talked about last week's podcast.
Okay. So I decided to throw my own party in my room, and Discovery rented me a nice hospitality suite. And for a few years, I threw a Friday night con party there. Last year, we wanted to bump it up. 2 years ago. Yeah. Discovery ponied up, and we had a much bigger party downstairs here at the Hyatt. Marriott. At the Marriott, sorry. And then last year we wanted to bump it up further, but we couldn't find a sponsor. Yeah. This year we had a wonderful sponsor.
Well, so this year, Whale Rock, which is the company that owns Tested, and AOL and Mandatory, which is one of our sister sites with Whale Rock, said, you know what? Here's some money. Yeah. Make it stretch it out. Make a party. And we did. So it's something we've been working on for a long time.
So we took over the bar. We had a VIP area, which was about a third of the bar.
It was small, yeah.
We had a larger area For everyone else, we had open bar, and
photo
we had
booth.
a photo booth, and about a dozen of my costumes on display
Yeah.
from past Comic Cons and from my collection.
Yeah, so it was. Go
A
ahead.
little inside baseball and like the party planning, right? We've worked with you to pick out what costumes you want to bring. You want to bring the stuff that you'd worn at Comic-Con, stuff that we'd shown on Tested, some of the projects, and it really was the whole pantheon of your history of costume making.
And actually, I didn't quite realize how much of a pantheon it was until I saw my original Apollo AL7 suit there, looking so shitty.
Right, it was there next to your most recently completed suit.
The Mercury suit, which
Right.
looks so bloody good and tight and accurate.
But the thing about the AL7 is, if you hadn't had it next to the Mercury suit, it wouldn't look shitty.
No, it's true. And frankly, I loved having it there as a demonstration. It's not like. So the ethos of Comic-Con is that you do what you can.
Yeah.
So there are people that show up and that just have a splash of one color of makeup on their face, and others that spent months and tens of thousands of dollars, and they're all just having the same amount of fun.
I talked to guys who are like, well, you know, a guy who had an arc reactor on his shirt, which is, if you're a dude, probably the easiest. Tony Stark out of armor is the easiest costume in the world, because I think you can go out and buy the arc reactors now. Even
It's a shirt with the EL pad in the middle.
Yeah.
You wear a battery pack.
So like from that all the way up to, there were people like you said that were in, I think, Mass Effect armor that they made out of like hard
Rubber floor mats.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Totally beautiful. That couple.
The couple that was from the BioShock cosplayers, the Splicer and the little sister,
Yes.
were wonderful. They were so good.
And we met a lot of
She was the one with the.
She was the one with the freaky contacts,
Oh my
yeah.
God, she was freaking me out. And the Harlequin,
Oh, she was so good. Yeah.
the full face, and it was incredible.
So people came in costume. I mean,
People came to the party in
from
costume.
Comic-Con. It wasn't just, hobnobbing with friends and VIPs. It was Tested members and people from the community and Comic-Con fans.
And it served all of those purposes. I got to see so many of my favorite people at Comic-Con in one place. I have to iterate again how much fun it is to go to parties that I throw and not be drinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have the same. Nothing deteriorates throughout the night.
Norm and I wrapped up at 4, and I feel better than I have any Monday morning after a Comic-Con party that I drank. So,
So I kept on, there's a VIP area where I bring my friends and, I get to spend some time with them. But there's the general area, and I spent probably well over an hour, over like 5 or 6 times out there taking pictures and talking to attendees. And every conversation followed. I can't say every conversation was similar because they weren't, but they all had this. They were all conversations about making and about passions for costumes and cosplay.
well, the thing I realized early on is that, because I was talking to people, I was doing the same thing. We were walking around talking to people. We let tested members in, premium members in, an hour before the party opened, so they could get a good shot at pictures and see the costumes and talk to us and take pictures and all that stuff before it got like a mob scene in there. And I realized really early on that everybody there had at least one axis of interest in common, right? So it's either people who are into cosplay or costumes or making stuff, or at the very least they were into Tested, at least for the first like 5 hours of the party. And it was really neat because I was like, I'm the guy at the party who sits in the corner and is like quietly talking to people he knows, because I don't like introducing myself. It's terrible. So it was great to see people who were sitting in the corner go out and introduce themselves to other people and be like, "Hey, what are you into?" And then they were, "Oh, we have massive shared interest." And
Totally.
and it was awesome to have that happen.
I love having fans share the stories of stuff that they're making, stuff that they're working on, stuff that they learned on Tested. I mean, that was also the depth of the Tested passion was lovely to experience, because just so many people had talked about videos where they learned this technique or that thing, or they had a modification on something that they learned. And those are my favorite conversations.
And so many people that we've interviewed, they were all in the same place. They got to meet each other. I mean, Mike McMaster, who built the giant Wall-E robot, was there. Yeah. Chris Reef and Chris Travis, the 2 Star Wars dudes who know all the parts. They do all the books. Were there. Fawn Davis, John Eblin from ILM Miniature Shop. All the people from
Matt Winston and a bunch of folks from Legacy were there.
Yeah, so it's all these people that individually we had met separately and had seeing their projects, they were interacting with each other and just hanging out.
And
There's a guy we gotta put up on the site. Brian Mix. Did you get to see
No.
him? He was wearing the Forbidden Planet. You know?
Oh, yeah, that was so good.
Okay, so
Sorry.
You know, he's just so amazing.
Oh, and it was his wife and
His wife was Wilma Deering from Buck Rogers in the 30s.
so good. She had such an awesome
No,
jetpack.
I know, it was fantastic. Anyway, Brian is an amazing maker of replicas. He's got a full-size Maria from Metropolis in his house that he built.
Oh, you visited him.
And he has the most
tour.
unbelievable Robbie the
Robot,
robot you've ever seen.
Yes.
Fully automated and everything.
Destroy
And
all humans.
He's got C-3PO. Anyway,
When you were on tour.
Tessa needs to cover him.
Yes, when you were on tour last year, you stopped by his house. And I mean, so many people from the Replica Prop Forum, the guys who run it. I mean,
Art Andrews and
Art
his wife.
Andrews.
Oh, really?
Kristen were
I didn't get to
there.
meet him.
I
I'm so
spent some time with
bummed.
The prop store guys, Brandon Ellinger, who started the RPF, was there.
Stephen Lane,
Yeah.
who owns the prop store of London, was there.
I at one point I looked over and I saw Mike McMasters and Frank Ippolito talking to each other, and I was like, I know that, like, this has got to be a super interesting conversation.
Oh, they're talking about materials.
Oh, I know.
Material
I know.
science.
Because Mike McMasters was like, Frank knows more about materials than I've ever, like, he's like, I figure it out eventually. But yeah, so like everywhere that was happening on both sides, actually.
Yeah, I'm building a giant, alien style Gatling gun, right? What I'm using Smoothcast 65, but it cures too heavy. What's something that cure, that's a little lighter?
It's just great. It's so much fun. I petered out around 1 a.m. And just I've been glowing all night and all day.
Now,
Skrillex case?
No. Yeah, now there's a bit you don't bear the lead because we had some awesome people.
Oh,
also,
Yeah,
Guillermo was there.
Guillermo del Toro was there.
Came early, and it's lovely to see him. He and I had a meal yesterday to talk and catch up and stuff. And he's He's like one of the sweetest people alive.
You got to introduce him to the Mecha Hand prop. And his face lit up.
Oh, it's like a small child.
One of my costuming heroes, Deborah Nadoolman Landis, showed up also. She is married to John Landis, but she also is one of the most amazing costumers ever. She actually has a doctorate in costuming.
Oh my God.
And she designed Indiana Jones' outfit. She did the costumes for 1941. She designed Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Are you kidding? I didn't know that.
That's her.
Oh
That's
my
all her.
God.
She's amazing.
You could have stopped at Indiana Jones outfit.
No,
I would have
know.
been great, but it gets better.
So I showed her my indie costume, and she felt the fabric and gave me the pat on the shoulder and told me stories about hat number one and jacket number one. Where she's finishing the jacket with wire brush and steel wool the night before the first shoot. And more than that, talking about the obsession and the passion.
Yeah.
She said, so Deborah designed a magnificent and amazing costume exhibition for the Victoria and Albert Museum in London last year that is coming to LA in October.
Oh, cool.
And I'm gonna go to I want to go to the opening.
Can we go? We should go cover that probably. Seems
Is
like
that the LACMA?
And I'm not sure.
We'll figure it out.
Where, but she talked about all the things that she was able. This exhibit has some unbelievable things on open display. She has Indiana Jones hat number one, jacket number one.
Good grief.
Nobody knew which was number one until she went to the archives and she said, as the mother of this costume looked and remembered, oh, it was this kind of D-ring and this kind of zipper, and it could only be this. And the young me who did this movie never would have written that inside the hat, so it can't be this hat. Oh, it's this one. It has to be this one. And she said, as the mother who knows every stitch of her costume, she says, I see the passion in these, and I really appreciate what you have on display.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so fantastic.
You guys spent a long time walking up and down. You were. I
took her behind the velvet
You took her behind the
ropes.
ropes, and it was good. Guillermo Norman's so right. He was so excited.
We are very similar. I mean, if Guillermo wasn't making movies, he'd be making stuff in his shop just like I am.
Yeah.
And he does. When he's not making movies, he's actually painting and putting together stuff and hand making his own stuff for the same exact reasons.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's like on every level, it was. I didn't even realize that it's about sharing passions, right? But that is what the whole con is about. And I felt like the broad ethos of the con. And let's be clear. I mean, there are a lot of interesting and important things that need to be discussed about the cons, about gender and about the way women get treated here at the con and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very important. But at its best, it is a broad representation that crosses every barrier of gender, race, and creed. And I felt like that ethos was totally represented at Incognito Party.
I felt pretty good about how we
can make it bigger and better next year.
Yeah, totally. We need an area that's quiet next year.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I thought that was music.
That was me. No. So that's the thing. The only thing I wasn't sure about was that we had the oomph music and it was a little bit loud, but it was. I think they couldn't do one area softer than the other or whatever. And you need music in a party like that. So, it's a party, right?
It's really interesting to see because throughout the night, some people stuck around longer and people had their own little groups. And as it got we closed the party at 2 a.m. As it got to 1 a.m., most people had left. Right? Adam, you had gone, and Will said Skrillex came with his party. He took a corner. Photo booth
just
corner.
hold on. Let me ask you a question, Norm. Did you ever, when we started Tested, think that there would be a Tested party at Comic-Con, much less a Tested party at Comic-Con that rock stars were like crashing?
Oh yeah, the lead singer of Snow Patrol came and wasn't on the list, and we had to Google image search his face to confirm that it was him, because it's totally one of those things that like, I remember that band. I like that band.
I like Snow Patrol.
I never knew what the lead singer. I could not tell you what he looked like.
The most I saw him was like a pixel. He was that far away on the stage.
I'd be remiss if I didn't also say that Deborah Nadoolman Landis' son, one of my closest friends, Max Landis, came with a bunch of friends of his. And Max, I mean, if you don't know Max, he wrote Chronicle. You're gonna know about him because he's directed a new movie that's coming out soon, and he's an amazing writer and just an amazing guy. He was there. Dana, who was the manager at Sidebar, was like, Skrillex called. He said, he asked if he could come. And I'm like, yes, of course.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm not a big dubstep fan, but it's cool, whatever.
And we talked for a while. He was very, very cool and very sweet. I mean, that's the other thing is,
Well, he's a maker too, kind of. Right?
Yes.
He is a person who, anyway.
Well, I mean, that's
all
the
the
thing
same
I love
people.
about coming to Comic-Con is, I get to meet a lot of my heroes and people that I admire, and they're all really sweet. Like, if you're here and you're actually mingling, you're doing it for the right reasons, So I know there are stars who are really, really big, and they come in to do their thing and pump their thing and get the hell back out again, and that's fine, right? That's, there's a whole engine here that's about that.
Well, and I mean, if you're Brad and Angelina, you can't, like, you get in the normal elevator, you're going to get killed. So,
but Jamie and I were surprise guests on Zach Levy's Nerd HQ mystery panel yesterday, along with some amazing people like Brecken Meyer and Colin Ferguson and Nathan Fillion. And we had so much fun. It was just like a solid hour of just laughing hysterically. And these guys are all guys that love the con, that love the community.
So let's talk about the actual convention, because you did some walking incognito, and we'll have videos of that. But what were things that you saw that you got to see?
One of them was on the site right now.
That were cool.
Both, probably.
And what's that?
Both of the incognito walks are on the site right now. Yeah.
What were the things that you saw?
Right. Yes. The Chronicles Kane robot that they're producing from Phil Tippett's original master, the villain robot from RoboCop 2. Not the best movie, but one of my all-time favorite robots in movie history.
Like, as a movie, we went over to Tippett's studio and saw both the Kane robot and the one-to-one version and the original puppets, a couple of the original puppets, and like, as a kid, when I watched RoboCop 2, I didn't appreciate the amount of work that went into Kane.
God. Yeah.
I mean, so Mark told us the story, which was basically that they wanted to make something that was impossible for Chinese toy factories to knock off 2 weeks after the movie came out.
And they
mission accomplished, guys.
Man, that thing has 400 separate parts.
Wow. There's some really cool prop store was there, and
Prop
we
store
have a
has
video
some-
with that.
Prop store has some beautiful things on display. They had a prop from Excalibur,
Mm-hmm.
one of the helms. They had Rick Baker's inflatable underback structure from American Werewolf in
Werewolf,
London during the transformation. They had some beautiful props from Pacific Rim on display.
They had suits. They had a full suit, and they
had
had
a full
two suits that were going on auction. They had, and I met Darnell, who works at Legacy Effects at the party. He's one of the creative directors at Legacy who designed the suits.
Yeah.
We got to see the suit where, from the beginning of Pacific Rim, where the fluid fills up.
Yes.
and it's such a great effect.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's just a double layer.
It's just a double layer. Yeah.
The guys at Legacy Effects are, I'm going to go down
Sorry, I'm
there
passing right in front
later
of you.
on this year and hang out with them because they just do such beautiful work. And frankly, from the genius Shane Mahan all the way and Matt Winston all the way down, they're all, again, a bunch of super enthusiastic making geeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just original stuff, and there was a ton of original stuff. DC's booth had all the Joker masks from the Dark Knight.
It had all the masks from Batman.
All
the Batmans.
Batman,
all the cowls.
was mind blowing. Actually, standing there in front of the Jokers, I'm going to hit the floor again today in a much more casual helm that will allow me to walk unmolested, and I'm going to spend some time with my camera giving some reference.
Those
material.
looking at the Catwoman mask from Dark Knight Rises.
Where you can see that it's 3D printed.
Oh, dude, you could totally see the lines. It's amazing. I didn't realize that Bane's head was so small. It was the other thing.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy has a small head. But those Joker masks were, every single one of them is gorgeous.
It's just great.
And there's multiple layers of, it's really good.
Yeah. The con is overwhelming. You could spend every day here walking the floor and you wouldn't be able to see everything that's out there.
I still contend that there are 6 or 7 different Comic-Cons. There's the toys, there's the hall stuff, there's the big hall stuff.
There's the artist alley.
Artist alley.
Yeah.
It's just, it never stops. And then there's all the stuff that happens around it that you don't even have to go to the con for.
Yeah.
Best cosplay you saw?
Best cosplay.
Guy in an alien suit that was pretty good.
I will say actually that at our autograph signing, there was a guy whose cosplay was a tiki god.
Really?
Yes. And he was just a big cylinder. And it was with this, little screen where you could see out of, and he had done these gloves, and he was beautiful.
What is the deal with tiki? There's actually a new book that just came out. I read on Wired that's about the American fascination, with tiki.
Cory Doctorow has been covering tiki bars on Boing Boing for years.
He's got it
because he's super into them.
And Paul Francis.
Yeah, no, I know.
Paul Francis, the guy who runs Chronicles, Chronicle Collectibles, has one of the largest collections of his tiki mugs, and it's been every single tiki bar in America. How?
Yeah.
What is anyway?
I think it's an obsession for a certain age,
and also the list of things that Cory Doctorow is into that are weird and esoteric is so awesomely long.
Oh, it's the most mainstream thing is the haunted mansion at Disney World.
Start with that.
Yeah,
it's funny because Cory and I don't think we've actually officially met in person. I know most of the folks at Boing Boing pretty well. But Cory and I have emailed and we've corresponded and we have similar passions. We had some representatives from the Electronic Frontier Foundation at the party last night.
Oh, really?
They have actually started building a presence at Comic-Con. And what they're trying to do is actually really interesting. Do a derail here.
That's fine.
But they're trying to they're looking at communities where there's a ton of passion and ingenuity and innovation going on, and asking them to push that passion and innovation one extra step towards political activism.
Well, I was going to say,
communal,
it's a perfect overlap. I talked to Mike McMasters about this last night, and he was like, look, the R2 guys have been on this early because we realized that if one guy learns something about building an R2 and we share it with everyone else, then the 14,000 people that are in the R2 Builders Club get stronger as a whole. And at the most selfish level, like that's motivation to share and share alike.
Well, and here's another that I'm going to say because surprisingly they are not horn tutors, but the 501st, right? The group of guys that dress up as stormtroopers and Darth Vader, and then their sister, the Rebel Legion, which dresses up as the good guys from Star Wars. Those are all They do all that stuff for charity. None of them get paid. If you bring them to your event, and we've had them come to our events, they refuse payment. They do not want it. They go to hospitals, they go to birthday parties, they help out kids in cancer wards, and they go to fundraisers. I mean, that is absolutely, again, like the R2 group, the early adopters of the recognition that kind of passion can be used for a certain awesome kind of activism.
Well, and they also are sharing information about how to make armor and where to get. Do they do parts runs in the whole thing?
Very egalitarian, very, very sharing across groups. There's nobody hoarding their information.
I had a great talk with a guy who's in the 501st from Calgary last night. I can't remember his name, but we had an extended conversation about making armor. So.
And on that note, we're still only halfway through.
Oh my goodness. Today's the biggest day. It's about to start.
Today's the biggest day. I'm going to hit the floor after we do some stuff at Petco Park. I'm going to drink this orange tea.
Good.
Hope that it heals my throat just a little bit.
Norm, it's 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. How many pictures have you taken?
Very antsy.
How many cosplay pictures? How far in are you?
Let's see.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah. The best one I've seen so far, and the most elaborate one I've seen so far, well, they're two separate, but the most elaborate was a dwarf, and he was standing on two kegs.
They're little people.
Kegs. and he was drunk, and it was so elaborate, and he had a big axe and a shotgun, and he was drinking, and it looked like his feet were tied to two wooden barrels.
I saw two Jawas that were standing on each other's shoulders to try to get in, like to not be short.
Oh, that's great.
It was pretty funny.
There was a 6.5 foot tall Jawa walking around yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was hilarious. The guy was like, fuck it, I'm just going to be a Jawa.
Yeah, I like Jawas. What?
There was also at our signing a pair of kids, probably 5 and 7, a little boy of 5, little girl of 7. The boy had on a perfect Joker costume. Long purple coat, vest, tie, shirt, everything. And his sister was the cutest Harley Quinn you've ever seen.
Oh, that's so wrong and
they're
cute.
like taking pictures, and then they're chimping with the pictures that they just took with me. It was so cute.
Oh God, I saw a newt yesterday on the way out of the hotel.
A newt?
Newt from Aliens, who was legitimately 8 years old, and she had a cat. It was perfect.
Oh
it was so good.
I hope she walked around saying things like, mostly.
She just it was
this.
I just
That'll be the best.
Okay.
Why did you put her in charge, man?
And on that note, the gallery will be up by the time you guys hear this.
We'll see you guys when
the gallery will be up. There's so much good stuff, and so much of it like deep within the tested maker Comic-Con community.
I mean, Norm and I have been doing this for a little bit longer with Tested than you have, but the one thing that I will say about the Tested community is that I am always blown away by them. You know, the internet, there's a reputation on the internet that it is a horrible place full of angry and sad people who want to destroy all that is good in the world. And every time we're exposed to the Tested audience, it warms my heart. You know, from comments on every story on the site, not necessarily on YouTube, to meeting in person in small groups. Or last night was amazing. You know, it was wonderful. And we were just super stoked to have the party. I'm glad you guys had fun.
we had napkins.
I have one of my. I stole one and I put it in my back pocket.
That was very surreal.
Yeah,
To have cocktail napkins.
yeah.
That's funny. We had drinks made up based on costumes.
Yep. The bartenders were wearing shirts that said "tested" on them.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was bananas.
That was surreal. All right.
Okay. Well, we'll be back next week with another episode of Still Untitled. I think Frank's going to be back.
Excellent. Yes.
So we'll see you guys then. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.